friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Zita, and on my channel I do DIYs and makeovers on a budget. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at OakWell Home. So let's get started on today's DIYs and see what I've created. So I'm starting out here today with a cutting board that I thrifted, and I'm going to make this into a riser. And I picked up these little wood doll pegs at the Dollar Tree. I think they're for making dolls, but I'm going to put these on the cutting board and use them as legs. Now I did start out with just the glue and a little bit of hot glue, and you'll see coming up here later on, this failed on me. And I think the reason for that is because the cutting board was a little bit slick, like it had a coating on it. So I think the wood glue wasn't really sticking down as well as it should. So I do fix that up, and you'll see me use a nail gun to secure them even more. So they look like they're on there nice, right? So they're working so far, but it does go awry there in a little bit. So I'm starting out with painting the riser this beautiful green color. And this is a chalk paint I made myself. So if you're interested in knowing how to make your own chalk paint, specifically like a color like this, you can go back a couple of videos, and I'll put that link in my description box so you can see how I made it. But isn't this a beautiful color? I'm absolutely loving it. I mixed a whole bunch of colors together to get this color. Now, as you can see, the chalk paint going on, it's not going on in the first coat. And I think that, again, is because of the slickness. And I do put a coat on the bottom as well. And the legs are still there, but you will see in a little bit once I start sanding. So once I think I put 2 coats on there, so I'm just giving it a sanding, a light sanding to, make it smoother before I start with my next step. And this is where one of the legs came off. Now, all the others seem to be on there pretty good, but they do come off afterwards as well. And when I'm starting here with the nail gun. So I don't know if starting out using the nail gun kind of vibrated them all off, but anyway, I use my nail gun and they're all on there very secure now. So if you're using a nail gun, practice safety with any tools. So yeah, so you see there, they all started to come off. So when you're using a nail gun, practice safety, put on your safety glasses, and I'm using a battery operated Ryobi nail gun here. And so once you're not using the nail gun anymore, take the battery out, because you don't want, kids getting at this type of tool. It's, you do have to play it safe when you're using tools like this, but don't be afraid to use them. Just as long as you practice safety, you're good. So I made sure I had the proper size brad nails in my nail gun, and I'm just nailing all these feet in place, and they're going to be nice and secure after this. And I did go over it with another coat of chalk paint to cover up the little bit of the nail that you could see, but it wasn't too bad. So now you can see that they're all secure. So I'll give this another coat of my homemade chalk paint, and then I'll give it a light sanding again to make it smooth. So there you see I'm taking out that battery and giving it another coat of my beautiful homemade chalk paint. And again, like I said, a nice light sanding, and then I'm going to start with my next step. So you're going to want to wipe away that dust with a damp cloth and then let it dry. And I'm going to first put a layer of this script stamp down. I'm going to use navy ink for this, and these are the IOD stamps. And if you haven't tried IOD stamps before, this is an awesome stamp to get, friends, because you can use this in so many projects, and I have used it in so many projects. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you've probably seen me use this stamp quite a few times. So you know, these stamps can be a little expensive, but one like this, you're going to get a lot of use out of it. So if I would say pick anyone, pick these and your letter stamps, you're going to get the most use out of. But I have a collection of these stamps going now, and you'll see me use them in quite a few projects. So I'm going to put the script stamp down first. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to just stamp it up here again and put some at the bottom. And kind of when you're putting the stamp down, hold it with one hand and then press it in with the other hand. So once I have this script stamped down, before I start my next step, I am going to let this dry. I just let it dry overnight. You can probably try a heat gun or a hair dryer to speed up the process, but I just let it dry overnight. So what I'm doing here as well is I use that same blue ink and put it around the edges to give it that distress look. And this is a sticker I picked up at the Dollar Tree, friends. Isn't this beautiful? Absolutely beautiful. Now I do have some transfers, but I wanted to give you know, another idea that you could use if you don't have transfers on hand. But doesn't this look so real? Now, what I would have done differently here, because I do use a polyvine wood varnish. Now, this is in a dead flat, it's called, so it's not going to have any sheen. And this sticker had a little bit of a sheen to it, so I wanted to take that away so it didn't look so much like a sticker, that it looked kind of like, you know, a transfer, that it was part of the riser. So I'm just going to put all of this on top. So like I said, what I would have done differently here is I probably would have applied my polyvine, or, you know, Mod Podge if you have it, or whatever decoupage medium. I probably would have applied that on the bottom first and then put that sticker on, because I think it would have stuck a little better, because you'll see here later on, like around some of the edges, like they were coming up. And so yeah, if you're going to try this one with one of the Dollar Tree stickers, see how it's lifting there? Just use your Mod Podge or your whatever decoupage medium you have. If you have some of this polyvine, just put it on the bottom. So I just kind of lifted it up and put some underneath. I was trying to get the whole piece up again, but it started to rip in a little area, so I stopped it and just kind of put it underneath around the edges. But this turns out so beautiful, you would never even really know this is a sticker. So I let that dry and gave it another coat, and this is what it turned out like. Let me know in the comments what you think of this beautiful piece. It has that nice romantic look, doesn't it? For this next DIY, this is a metal vase that I've had in my stash for quite a while, and I wasn't sure if I should paint it first, but I did go ahead and do that. So first I'm using a Fusion Ultra Grip to coat the metal so the paint will stick nicer. And if you don't have any of this, you could probably use like a Rust-Oleum clear coat or something like that. That's going to help your paint stick to the metal, because sometimes if you don't use that, your paint's going to come off the metal. So that's what it looks like before it's dry. It looks kind of creamy, but it dries translucent color. So that's after it's dry. So this metal vase has some beautiful texture in it, and like I said, I wasn't sure if I should paint it first, but I thought, oh, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna paint it this beautiful green again with this homemade chalk paint that I made, and it turns out absolutely gorgeous. I'm so glad I painted it because, like I said, all that texture in this vase, once I wipe that back with a wet distressing method, it brings out all the beauty of this vase. So I gave the vase 2 coats of this green colored chalk paint all around. So that's what it looks like with the 2 coats. And now I'm just using a wet rag because it's chalk paint. I can do that. And just going to distress it all around the textured edges and that texture on the sides and on the front and back of the vase. And this took some time to do. Probably took me like half an hour to do all of this scrubbing, but it just absolutely turns out gorgeous, and I'm so glad I painted it. And once this is finished, I put some beautiful lavender in it, and the lavender, the purple color, looks so beautiful against this green. So once you see the finished product, let me know in the comments what you think of this beauty. And once I did get all the distressing done, I do seal it with a clear wax just to seal in all my work. For this next DIY, I'm going to work on this rolling pin that I picked up at the thrift store. And it's looking a little shabby. There were some cracks and stuff, but that's okay. We're going to pretty that up. So first I'm going to give the middle portion a couple of coats of my homemade white chalk paint. And for the handles, I'm going to paint with my homemade green chalk paint. And once the middle portion is dry, you will see me use some sandpaper to bring out some of the beauty of the rolling pin that makes it look old. So this is what it looks like after it's dry. So I'm using some sandpaper here. I think it's like an 80 grit or something like that. And I'm just giving it some sanding all around, you know, where the cracks are. And then I'm going to apply a transfer on top of that. So yeah, this is going to make it, you know, give that antique-y kind of look. So I'm going to wipe that down to get all the dust off, and then I'm going to apply some Prima Redesign transfers. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to paint the handles green, and then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to apply my transfers. So if you have a box like this is a great way that you can sit your rolling pin on something like this and just let it dry so nothing touches the handles. This is a milk box, had some oat milk in it. So that's what the handles look like when they're dry. And I'm also going to give these a sanding, and that's going to give it that, you know, the antique look. I don't want it to be too pretty. I want it to be pretty, but not too pretty. I want it to be antique style pretty. So again, once I have that sanding done on the handles as well, I'm going to wipe away that dust, and now I'm going to apply my Prima Redesign transfers. And I was going to use this long flower here, but you'll see me go in another direction because I like the length of that flower, but there was another floral print in there with the blue and the green that I thought looked a lot nicer with the color of the handle. So I'm going to put that in position, and then you're going to take the backing off and then lay it where you want, and make sure you lay it in the right spot, because once you set that down, sometimes these transfers will stick and you're committed to where you have it laid down. So once I have it laid down, I'm going to use the little tool that came with the transfers to burnish that transfer down. And you'll kind of know that it's burnished down because the transfer will kind of turn like a translucent. So once I have it all burnished down and I take that plastic off, I burnish it some more with the plastic. And now I'm going to add to this, and I'm going to use this small script stamp that I have that I picked up on Amazon, and I'll see if I can find it on Amazon, and I'll put the link in my description box if you want to purchase something like this for some of your projects. This is a little smaller script that you can use for small projects. So I'm just applying that in some different areas just to give it a little bit extra. And you're going to want to let this ink dry, and I let it dry overnight just to make sure it's really dry, but you can use a heat gun or hair dryer. And now I'm applying a clear wax and to seal everything in, and once I have the clear wax on there, I'm going to use my black wax. The clear wax is going to act like an eraser just in case you apply too much black wax. Once I apply my black wax, I'm using a rag here or a tissue to wipe some of that back, and this is what it looks like. Doesn't this turn out gorgeous? Let me know in the comments what you think of this one and what you thought of all of these DIYs today. I hope they gave you some inspiration. I thank you so much for watching. For my first couple of DIYs, I'm going to be using these embroidery hoops, which I picked up at the dollar store, and you can also find these in some thrift stores as well. And I'm going to be using some drop cloth here as well that I had on hand. And you can cut it with scissors, you can rip it, or you can use fabric cutter. And you're going to want to cut it big enough to fit your embroidery hoop. It's better to have a little bit more than not enough. So I'm kind of centering out my hoop here, and then I'm going to be using some transfers on these pieces of drop cloth. So here I have some Prima Redesign transfers, and I think I got these from Amazon. And I'll see if I can find them for you and leave the link in the description box. And if you watched my video from last week, you will have seen me use these transfers on this beautiful toolbox makeover. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll put it in the description box and you can go and watch that. It turned out absolutely beautiful. So here I'm just centering up where I want the transfer, and then I'm gonna pull my hoops out, and I actually end up ironing this piece of drop cloth before I apply my transfer. Just wanted to make sure that all the wrinkles were out and everything was nice and smooth before I applied my transfer. So now I'm going to put my hoop back on there and then just put my floral transfer in the middle here and just figure out where I want to put it because I am going to do a little bit of stamping on here as well. So once I've figured out where I want to put it, you're going to pull the backing from underneath the transfer. And this package of transfers comes with a burnishing tool as well. So then you're just going to burnish it down. I think these come with like a wooden stick. I have a few of them laying around. I have wooden stick, plastic stick laying around, but this little burnisher here I picked up at the dollar store as well, the Dollar Tree actually. And this one was a little wider and a little easier to use. So you're going to want a hard surface underneath to burnish this down, and that plastic will kind of turn like translucent, and that's kind of how you know that it's burnished down. So now I do put parchment paper on top of this and iron it as well, and you'll see in the second embroidery hoop the reason why I do that. So here I have these little stamps which I picked up at Michael's. I forget what brand they are now, but I'll leave it in the description box and maybe leave a link for you if I can find it. And I'm using some green ink, and these stamps are awesome. They just snap together, so there's no like holding them in place with your hands or doing one at a time, because I do have some small stamps from the dollar store, but when you do them one at a time, sometimes your letters don't line up. But this turned out awesome, and I used that green ink which matched really nicely with the stem of the floral. So that's what that looks like. And now I'm gonna put my embroidery hoop on and center it up and make sure everything is nice and tight on there. And once I have the embroidery hoop put together, I do kind of pull on the drop cloth just to make sure that everything is nice and tight, so it looks nicer that way. And then I'm going to cut that excess drop cloth off. And you don't want to throw out that excess drop cloth. You can use that for like tags for projects, you know, you can stamp on it, or you can just even use it as a wipe cloth or to stamp some paint on, you know, to dab off your brush. So here's what this first one looks like. Let me know in the comments what you think of this, and do you like that little bloom print that I put on there? So for this second one, I've already cut my drop cloth here, and this is something else that you can do here as well, which I didn't do with that first one, is you can just kind of put your embroidery hoop in place, and that's going to make the imprint on the burlap, and then you can just take the hoops away, and then you know you have your circle there so you know where to put it. So this little transfer I picked up at the Dollar Tree. Isn't this so cute? but you'll see what happened with this one, and this will show you why I used the iron in that first one. I actually made this one first before I did this first DIY that I showed you. And this is why I ironed both of them. So I burnished it down on the drop cloth, and I think because, you know, these transfers are from the Dollar Tree, they aren't as great as the ones that you pay more money for, but it did work. You know, I got it burnished down, and I noticed that it seemed to not be burnished down, and you'll see me kind of look at it a little closer thereafter. So I put my hoop on, and then I kind of noticed that there was some paint on the back of this drop cloth, so I must have been using it for another project and got some paint on the back. So I took off my hoop and picked off the dried up paint on the back of the drop cloth. And then, like I said, I noticed that the transfer wasn't burnished down the way that I wanted it to be burnished down. So here, you know, I'm pulling it tight, and then that's when I noticed that little bump there, and that was some dried up paint. So then, you know, I took the hoop off again because yeah, that would have drove me crazy. But if something like that wouldn't drive you crazy, then you could just leave that little bump there. So I lined it up again, and this, where you see my, you know, kind of playing with it there, I noticed that it wasn't completely burnished on. So I take it off again. At least I know where to put the hoop, because the imprint is in the drop cloth now, because I've taken it off and put it back on so many times. So then I put the plastic back on top of it and start burnishing it down again, because I thought, oh, you know, maybe I didn't burnish it down hard enough. That's why it was started to come up. But no, afterwards I realized that maybe it's because it's a dollar store transfer and it doesn't work as great as, you know, the ones you pay a little bit more money for. So anyway, I thought I had it burnished down, so I cut all my excess fabric off, and then I, you know, hung it on my wall, and I noticed, like, after a day or two, that it seemed like the transfer was coming off again. So you'll see me, you know, but I've already cut my excess fabric off. So you'll see here. This is what I mean. This is what I noticed after a day or two while it was sitting on the wall. It started to come off again. So then I thought, how can I don't want to waste this. It's so beautiful. Be a little wild, it says. So I put some books underneath because I didn't want to take it off the hoop, because, you know, I've already cut it. So I just put the parchment paper over there and ironed it on, and it's been perfect ever since. So if you find some of these at your local dollar store, go ahead and pick them up, but just use an iron with the parchment paper and it will stay down. And it's been on my wall for a couple of weeks now, and it still hasn't come up. So just use your iron. Isn't this adorable? I love this. And this is from the Dollar Tree, a little $1.25 transfer, and it looks so beautiful in this little embroidery hoop. Let me know in the comments what you think of both of them and which one was your favorite. Starting out with this cupboard door that I picked up from the Habitat for Humanity, and I'm not sure what kind of wood this is, but it's really, really hard. So it was already navy when I picked it up. So first I'm going to apply this Fusion Ultra Grip, this is going to help my paint stick to that really slick surface. So I'm going to paint that all over and then let that dry, and then I'm going to apply my paint. For this one, I wanted to create a green chalk paint, and I didn't have any on hand. I only mixed up a white and a black for myself. So I'm going to show you here how I created a chalk paint for this. You're going to want to get yourself some plaster of Paris. That's what I'm using here. I picked that up at my local hardware store. So I'm putting a 1/3 cup of plaster of Paris and a 1/3 cup of water. Now, if you want your chalk paint a little thicker, you can add a little less water. But I find when you add less water, your chalk paint will dry up faster. And then you're going to want to put a cup of paint. So I had a bunch of green acrylic paints on hand. So guys, if you can't afford the chalk paint, because I know they are very expensive, or you just want something on the spot, this is how you can create some chalk paint for yourself. So I'm using a bunch of different color greens here, some light, medium, and dark, and until I get the color of green that I want, and until I fill up to a cup of paint. So I'm just going back and forth, applying all the different colors. And at the end, I do add in a little bit of charcoal gray and a little bit of black to get the color of green that I want. And it turned out beautiful. So if you want to make some chalk paint for yourself, I also have a video on how to make it. I made some white chalk paint before as well. So I'll put that in my description box for you. So once you have your full cup of paint, whether it's one color or multiple colors, you're going to want to mix that in with your plaster of Paris and water mixture. And voila, you have some chalk paint for yourself. So once my Fusion Ultra Grip has dried on my cupboard door, I'm going to apply my homemade chalk paint. And I gave this 3 coats, and I used my heat gun to help it along with the drying process in between. So what do you think of this green color, my friends? I love it. So next, I'm using this Dollar Tree gift tissue paper. So this is another inexpensive way to decoupage. So I picked up a whole bunch of gift tissue paper from the Dollar Tree. So you're going to see that in some future projects. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see what I make in the future with all the different tissue papers that I got. Isn't this a beautiful paper? So I'm just applying this inside, and I'm going to use a crafter's knife to cut it along the edge, and you're going to want to use a sharp one so you don't give your tissue paper a jagged edge. Now this tissue paper is thin, so you're going to want to apply it very carefully so it doesn't rip when you're applying your Mod Podge or whatever decoupage medium you're using. So usually underneath your decoupage paper, you're going to want to paint white. That way the the print is going to show more vibrant, but I didn't want it to be very vibrant. I wanted it to kind of be a green muted underneath. But what I would do in the future is use a thinner decoupage medium. This Mod Podge was too thick. I should have watered it down or used some other thinner medium that I had on hand, because as you see there, because I didn't paint it white underneath, you can see some of the glue that has dried underneath. So that's my tip for you guys and for myself for next time is if I'm not painting white underneath, is to use a thinner decoupage medium. So once I have that done, I'm applying a decoupage on top, and I'm gonna fix that those white lines later on, you'll see. So you'll see here my screw broke off in this cupboard door because, like I said, this wood was so hard that it broke my screw off. So I drilled a little hole in there on the back before to hang my hanger, and I used a shorter screw so I didn't have to go so far down in the cupboard door and break my screw off again. So once I had the hanger on there, I turned it over, and I'm giving my piece some distressing because I wanted some of that blue that was already on the cupboard door to show through, and it looks beautiful with this green color. So I'm because it's chalk paint, I was able to wet distress it instead of sanding it. So I just got a wet rag and distressed it along the edges. Now I'm using some burlap here, and I'm going to cut that down to the size that I want to go in the middle. So I'm going to make a pocket on this door, and I still have that beautiful tissue paper in the background. And this little stencil here that says Farm Fresh, I picked that up at the Dollar Tree as well, my friends. So check out your local Dollar Tree to see if they have some stencils like this. I picked up a whole bunch. Now I should have put some tape on those numbers. As you'll see later on, I went over a little bit of those numbers by mistake. A little bit of paint got in there, and I had to adjust this stencil to make it fit on this piece of burlap here, but it turned out so nice. And I'm just using some acrylic paint here and a makeup brush actually to apply it, and I helped that along again with my heat gun and let that set aside for a little bit. And here's where I'm going to fix up those white stripes showing through. So first I'm applying my clear wax, and I'm just applying it on the top portion there that's going to show once I have my little pocket on there. So I'm applying some clear wax first and then some black wax, and what this does, the clear wax acts as like an eraser. If you apply too much black wax, then it's easier to get it off if you have a clear wax underneath. So applying that black wax, I'm just kind of giving it a little bit more so those white glue stripes don't show through. And as you see, I didn't apply it all the way down because I'm going to apply this pocket now with some hot glue, and I didn't want that wax to interfere with the hot glue that I was going to apply. So I just took my iron here and pressed it on the top with put my parchment paper on top there and ironed that to heat set that acrylic paint on there. So now I'm just applying my hot glue along the edges and using a little tool here, I believe it's for nails, to press it in place. And because that hot glue can get very hot, and I have burnt myself with it, believe me. So now I do have a little finger thing here as well that you're going to see me use now to press in this jute rope that I'm going to use along the edges to give it that more finished look. So I'm going to go all along the edges, and you'll see I have my little pink finger on there to prevent myself from getting burnt. I'm going to apply all of that along the edge there, and then I'm going to put some flowers in there, and I'm going to put a bunch of different flowers in here. And you let me know in the comments which flowers that you like the best. And let me know as well if you like that gift tissue paper background that I put behind the pocket. Let me know if you would have left this just plain and just put the pocket on, or do you like that gift tissue paper that I put on there? So I think I also give it a little bit more distressing after this as well to bring some more of that blue out along the inside corners. And then, like I said, I'm going to Try out a bunch of different florals inside that pocket and let me know in the comments what you think of this piece and which of the florals you like the best. And I am going to finish off this piece with some clear wax and then some black wax, and this piece is finished. For my next piece, I'm going to be working on this beat up toolbox that I picked up from the Habitat for Humanity. And because it's metal, I am going to apply a Fusion Ultra Grip. And that way it's going to help your paint stick better to the metal. Because I find if you don't do this, your paint will come off very easily. And if you don't have Fusion Ultra Grip, you could use something like a Rust-Oleum clear coat, maybe a Decoupage medium. So once I have this all covered all over in the Fusion Ultra Grip, I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to apply my paint. So that's what it looks like once it's dry. So it dries translucent. So now I'm using this beautiful Fusion paint in Midnight Blue. Isn't this a gorgeous blue? I absolutely love it. So I'm going to paint this toolbox all over with the Fusion Midnight Blue paint, except for the inside. On the inside, I'm using this green chalk paint here that I mixed up that you saw in my previous DIY. And first I was going to just cover the inside with like a contact paper or something, but I changed my mind. I thought this green looks beautiful with that blue, but I did not put the Fusion Ultra Grip on the inside, like I said, because I was going to cover it up. But I went in a different direction and used the chalk paint. And you'll see there was a little bit of bleed through on the inside. So if I was to do this again, I would have applied the Fusion Ultra Grip on the inside as well. So next here, I'm trying out some Prima Redesign transfers that I picked up from Amazon. So a bunch of different floral designs, and this turns out so gorgeous on this Midnight Blue with all of these pink flowers, and I think I put mostly pink, but I put a few of some other colors as well. So I'm just trying out some pieces, see where I want to place them. And this is such an easy way to level up your DIY, and you just place it where you want and then burnish it down with the tool that it comes with in the package. So I'm just placing it here where I want, and now I'm going to burnish all these down, and it turns out beautiful on this color. So you'll kind of know that that it's burnishing down because the clear plastic that's on the transfers, it kind of turns like a translucent color, and that's how you know it's burnished down. And I burnish it some more with that by pressing it in with that plastic that it comes there. And I'm just, placing out all my flowers, and I'm going to do the same thing. And inside the toolbox where I painted it with the green chalk paint, I'm going to use some IOD stamps. That turns out beautiful as well. So friends, if you have an old toolbox laying around or an old box, this is a great way to make it look beautiful again. You saw how this toolbox looked in the beginning. It looked like trash, right? Or maybe not trash for if you want to just throw tools in it, but you can use this piece for tools. You can use it for your paint supplies, crafting supplies. You can also use it for a makeup container. This little toolbox has so many uses for it. You could put some flowers in it, some plants, and whatever your heart desires, you can use this piece for. So this is how you can take an old piece and just turn it into something beautiful again for, not a lot of money. So I'm continuing and placing my flowers, and once I have that done, I am also going to use an IOD script stamp on all the places that I didn't put the flowers. So I'm going to use a gold ink on my script stamp and place that all over the rest of the toolbox. And this turns out so stunning that I'm not sure I can sell it, but we'll see. I'm gonna think on it and see if I'm gonna want to keep this for myself or if I want to sell it. You let me know after you see the finished product what you would do. Would you buy something like this? Would you keep it for yourself if you made it? Let me know in the comments what you would do. Here I have my IOD script stamp, and this stamp is so versatile. I've used it in multiple projects. So these stamps can be expensive, but they're going to last you a long time because they're made very well, and you can use them on multiple projects. And I do have a little script stamp off to the side there. If you see the pink there, it's a little one, but the script is smaller, that I picked up on Amazon. So you could also look on Amazon for something like that as well if you want a script stamp for smaller projects. And doesn't that gold script look gorgeous on there with the flowers? Let me know what you think of that, if you would have done that or if you would have just left it without the script. I love it. And I put this all over the box, on the back, on the sides, and the only place I didn't put it was on the bottom. And I did paint the bottom too, by the way. I like to finish the bottoms and the backs of pieces as well. Unless the backs or the bottoms are already in good condition, maybe, like some pieces you don't need to do that. But this was looking shabby on the bottom, so I did paint it that midnight blue as well. So now I'm using some gold ink along the edges, just kind of dabbing it on. I think I dabbed a little bit along the flowers there as well, just to kind of tie everything in. And it turned out so beautiful. You're going to see the pictures in the end, and you're going to be just blown away how the transformation of this piece. So here I'm applying it on the back, And if you don't get it absolutely perfect, it's hard to tell that you made a mistake with the script stamp. Sometimes you can tell if it's a rounded piece that I've done in the past where, it's hard to get the stamp around a rounded piece. But even if it doesn't look perfect, it still looks beautiful. So here are the stamps I'm going to use on the inside. IOD stamps again. This is the Sprigs stamp set. And inside I'm applying a blue ink. I had a blue ink on hand, so I thought that would tie in nicely with the paint color, and it looks so beautiful on the green. You could use whatever color you choose. Now you see that little bleed through that came there in the bottom, and I think if I would have used the Fusion Ultra Grip, you might not have seen that, but that's okay. It still looks beautiful. It looks much better than it did. So let me know what you think of these stamps on the inside. If you would have done that, or if you would have just left it plain. And you'll also see me use some Dollar Tree stamps here. So again, check out your local dollar store for some craft stamps. I picked these up at the Dollar Tree, and I'm putting some words here. And I'm going to put a bird as well. And I picked both of these up at the Dollar Tree. Have a bunch of bird stamps and a bunch of stamps with some butterflies and some words. And there's the birds. Aren't they beautiful? So go check out your local dollar store, friends, and see if they have something like this. These stamps here are good for like little additions you want to put on your piece. And I think the words said, enjoy the little things. So once I had all my stamps on there, and I did spray it with a Rust-Oleum clear coat and let that dry before I put my wax on, because you don't want to smear your wax, guys. If that's not dry, it's gonna smear, and I know from experience. So once I started applying my wax inside, I thought I wasn't going to do anything with the handle and the latch, and I thought I'm going to just bring this piece up even more by adding some gold paint to tie in with the gold script. I'm going to apply that to the handle and the latch, and this, friends, took the piece up even to a higher level. Let me know if you would have painted the handle and the latch gold, or if you would have just left it. And I'm kind of using some gold paint on some of the branches there on the flowers. And then once that was all dry, let it dry before you apply your wax so you don't smear anything. Once it was all dry, I apply a clear wax to seal in all my beautiful work here, and this piece is finished. This is what it looked like before, and let me know, friends, what you think of this gorgeous piece. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Don't forget to give the video a like and a comment. This helps YouTube promote my videos more. For my next DIY, I found these couple of wood trays at my local thrift store. I think I paid like, I don't know, $1 or $2 for each of them. They're both wood, different kinds of wood. So I'm just going to paint these up with my homemade chalk paint, and this is the green color that I was talking about earlier. And I do show you how to make that in one of my earlier videos. So I'm going to give these a few coats of paint, and I'm going to paint the front and the back. And so friends, what were these little dishes used for? This, let me know if you know. Were they just little serving trays or what? Or I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to use them for a little jewelry dish, or you can put them on your wall as well. And I'm going to show you how I did both. So once my 2 or 3 coats of chalk paint that I put on there, once that was dry, I did give it a distressing. And I'm going to put some transfers on this. So I'm putting some of that polyvine on these little trays first. Now some of the transfers say to put like a sealer on there before you apply your transfers, but most of the times I just apply the transfers straight to the chalk paint, because I think with chalk paint they stick really nicely. I haven't had an issue yet, so let me know in the comments if you've tried transfers and if you've had any issues getting them to stick to just the bare chalk paint, if you always apply a sealer first. I don't, but I did with these, and these are Prima Redesign transfers, and I'm going to cut out some of the pink butterflies here, which goes really, really nice with the green. So this first one here, I'm just kind of putting on a slant, and just kind of make it look more organic, like it's flying away. And the transfers come with this little wood tool. Now some transfers come with a plastic tool. So here I'm just trying to show you what it kind of looks like once you burnish it down with that tool. Like when you're lifting it up and you see if it's not all burnished down, just put it down again and use your tool to burnish it down some more, and it'll stick down. And I kind of pull it back slowly, just, you know, to make sure that everything's off. And then I use that plastic to burnish it down some more, to just, you know, make sure it's on there good. And I did the same thing with the other one. And now I'm going to apply a clear coat of wax on both of these, on the front and the back. And once the clear coat was on there, I do take out some black wax as well, and you'll see me do that coming up here. And I put the black wax kind of around the edges of the trays, just to give the trays a little bit more dimension, and almost like frame them out kind of. So I just go around the edges, and then I wipe back any excess with a cloth, and then I'm going to let that wax cure. Once the wax is cured, I am going to take these little stickies that I picked up at the Dollar Tree, little Velcro stickers, and you'll see coming up here. I'm going to show them to you. So one piece, you know, sticks to your piece, and the other piece sticks to the wall. So they're great for little tiny projects like this, you know, so you can still use it as a tray. So yeah, one piece is the Velcro, one piece is a sticky piece. So that's just what they look like before, and here's what they look like now. Aren't these beautiful? And I love this color, and I love the pink with the green. So there's what they look like on the wall, and here's what they look like with some jewelry in them. So let me know, friends, what you think of these two projects today. I have included the videos of both these projects at the end here, so stay till the end and just give you a closer look with the videos. So I hope these two projects gave you some inspiration today. Let me know which one was your favorite, and I thank you so much for sharing some of your time with me today, and I'll see you all in the next video.